Hello, and welcome back to another episode of my Haas driver career mode. Today, it is round 8 technically, but 7 in this for my Haas driver career mode. So today, we are at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. We just come off a podium at Monaco. Spoilers if you haven't seen that. Go watch it if you haven't. We need the views, please. Trying to get to 400 subscribers by the end of the year, so go like and subscribe on that. But now it is time for us to get into our first qualifying laps. Let's go. Okay, people, so Spain, one of my better circuits on this game. I really like it now that the chicane at the end of the lap has gone. A lot more flowing circuit now as we're getting onto our first lap. We've got a Mercedes right ahead of us. We're going to be getting dirty air from that and not quite able to get on the power as much as we'd like through turn 3. Then Mercedes gets out of the way as we're now on to the rest of the lap. A little bit of clear air, but we do have a little bit of traffic ahead of us. Not the best planning for our lap, but we're still going to try and set the best lap possible on this lap. It just means we'll be able to find quite a bit of time if we need to on a second flying lap in Q1. Now up to the fast right-hander, full throttle through here, 7th gear in qualifying, a little bit lower gears in the race. But you can see now we're closing right up into this massive group of traffic, and we're once again held up by another Mercedes right ahead of us. They park it on the apex. We lose so much time as we are going to abandon this lap, turn the ERS deploy to none, and just charge up the battery, and we're going to do maybe a cooldown lap to see if we can get another lap. And we're still going to activate DRS. We're still on the best bank line. We get the fastest lap of the session with a 1:14.1, and by the end of qualifying, that's still enough to get us in P8 and through into Q2 while being massively impeding. You see, we found 1.3 seconds on our second flying lap where we had no traffic, and we crossed the line to go into P1 in Q1. So I think at this point we have the 4th fastest car, but as I said, Spain, one of my better circuits. We're definitely on the paces. We're 6/10 up on the George Russell. I know I'm good at Spain, but I think I might have to put the AI up a bit for the race, which to be honest is something I've been trying to do for the last few sessions, but I didn't really know where to put it. And between qualifying and the race, I did up the AI in this video from around 95. I think I put it up to 98. So 3 more AI levels, which should be about right as we're coming to our first lap in Q2, as we have a massive mistake in the final corner, and that's going to ruin our first flying lap. We tried to take the final corner full throttle with our upgrades, but we actually get body damage from that. I really don't know how we've got that, because we didn't hit a wall or anything. And the problem with that is the repair timer is so long, we're not going to have time to set a flying lap in Q2, which means we are going to end up in P15 and start in P15 for the race, when we definitely have the potential to be fighting for pole in qualifying. So let's get into this.
Welcome along, everyone, to sunny Spain, specifically to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. So many great moments in Formula One history have been written at this very track over the years, including Michael Schumacher's first win for Ferrari back in '96. That win was in the rain. We might have better weather here today, but we're just as overjoyed to be at the Spanish Grand Prix. It's an updated track at Catalunya, and we welcome the removal of the chicane in the final sector, shortening lap times and reducing the total running to 2.9 miles and 14 turns. This was actually the original setup for the track, but it hasn't been used since 2007. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Perez, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Bottas, Gasly, Verstappen, Stroll, the engineer, Sainz, Albon, Tsunoda, Joe, De Vries, Oscar Piastri and Logan Sargent. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Natalie Pinkham joins me once again.
Okay, guys, so we definitely have the pace to get some pretty decent points finishing in this race. We're going to start on the hards. Everyone seems to be on different tyres around us. We're one of the only cars on the hards. A lot of cars on softs and a lot of cars on mediums. We're going to try the alternate strategy of the hard to soft tyres to have the pace at the end of this. We've shown we've had pace in qualifying. Can we carry it into the race? That is going to be the big question for this race. We're going to be aiming for the points. Our teammate will also be aiming for the points. There's a Mercedes locked out front row as we go to 5 red lights. And it's lights out and we go green in Spain. We get an amazing start on the hards. Just dip our tyres into the grass to get past Verstappen there. We're up into P10. We're already up into the points. Bottas and Ocon fighting, and we dive up the outside, round the outside of Ocon, round the outside of our teammate. Teammate just gets a little bit better on the inside. Hulkenberg perfectly positioning his car as we try to go full throttle round the outside. We almost have the Romain Grosjean moment for, I think it was 2017, where he completely took out so many cars at that corner. But now we're back behind Verstappen in P11. Verstappen up ahead, Gasly behind, Alex Albon in the Williams in P13. Williams really getting their car up there, as now we just need to settle into this race, try and get as many positions as possible. Leclerc has overtaken Hamilton at the front, Perez in P4, Alonso P5, Norris P6, Bottas P7, our teammate Nico Hulkenberg is in P8, Esteban Ocon in P9, and Verstappen in P10. Verstappen had penalties. I think he got pole position, but then took 10 places of grid penalties to start P11. And you see him and Ocon fighting ahead. Verstappen gets back Ocon and he's had a massive snap on the exit of the corner. Can Ocon maybe try and get him back if he can get a bit of run out of the corners? Verstappen's tyres will probably be a little bit overheating thanks to that snap at the rear. Can we try and make our own moves on the Alpine ahead? He's going to maybe go for the move on Verstappen. He's trying it as we have another Alpine of Pierre Gasly making a move on ourselves. We're going to have to defend from this because we can't afford to lose any more places. He is on softs, we're on hards. There's a big time differential between the two tyres, but there's also a massive time differential between both our cars. We're the 4th fastest car, they're the 8th fastest car. We definitely have to be staying ahead of them. Otherwise, they're going to be holding us. As Ocon and Verstappen still fighting up ahead of us. We right now just need to stay ahead. Verstappen gets ahead, Ocon is now behind. We're closing right up in on them in the braking zone. Can we maybe shape for the move in the next straight? No DRS active yet, so it's pure straight line speed and cornering performance at this moment. Something that we definitely have over the Alpine. Can we get the run on Esti Besti? He goes a little bit wide. We have the run, ERS deployed through to the braking zone. Can we brake later? Then Ocon, yes we can. Cut him off. We have a little bit of contact on the rear end. He squeezed him just a little bit too much. I will take full responsibility for that incident there. No penalties for ourselves though, as we are back up into the points. Now on lap 4, we've closed right back in to Verstappen. His medium tyres, they're definitely starting to lose pace at this point as the tyres are going up quite quickly. Every lap, his medium tyres are going to be getting closer to our hard tyres pace. And you see we're closing right in on the situation. We have more straight line speed in the braking zone. We get past Verstappen. He fights us back though. He's going to have the inside line for the next corner. But then it turns to our inside line for the long right-hander, and we are through on the Red Bull of Verstappen. Squeeze him out, and we are up into P9, right behind our teammate Nico Hulkenberg, as we are going to be looking to overtake him pretty quickly in this race. We are definitely the faster car, especially on hards compared to his mediums. And if he can, maybe try and let us through, because we are going to be definitely faster than him in a few laps time when his mediums start to degrade a little bit and our hard tyres come fully into play. They're in play at the moment, but they still don't really have the advantage over the mediums at this early stage in the race. Hulkenberg, he's been a pretty decent teammate. He's been pretty unlucky with reliability issues when he's been in big point scoring positions. His score on the points tally really doesn't show his performances in the races. He should definitely be about 20 points higher than he is in the championship, because in Imola he retired from the points. Monaco he got pretty decent points actually, and now in Spain we're going for the move up the inside. He just squeezes us, similar to how we had the move on Esteban Ocon, but Hulkenberg was defending this time rather than attacking, as we hit the most indestructible 50-meter board in the world. Not 50 meters, 100-meter board. I actually just want to look at that here. Let's see what happened here. A little bit of slow-mo here. We're coming up to the 100-meter board. Normally you expect them just to shatter, but the game just moves us aside and makes the 100-meter board survive completely, being one of the most indestructible things ever. But we're now looking for the move on Bottas, who's on the soft tyres. His soft tyres, I assume right now, have lost pace to our hards thanks to degradation. We have pretty high degradation around Spain, with the last two corners really being a hurt on the left tyres, or the left side tyres, as we are now a little bit behind Norris and Alonso. We got to push now. We don't want to lose DRS for more than a lap on the cars ahead. We know we have straight line speed, but DRS can't really counteract. We can't really compare straight line speed to just DRS usage. DRS is so powerful in this game. But on lap 8 now, we've closed right back in to the back of Norris. We've actually gapped Verstappen in the Red Bull, which shows actually how hard these cars are working the medium hard compound tyres, and how really not how well, but how well the hard compound tyres are actually holding up for us. As we are now going to be looking for the move on Norris, similar to the move most of the laps we've done here. Most of the moves have been into this corner. We know the drill by now. DRS active, no ERS. We are going to dive up the inside of Norris. Not really a dive bomb, but we do get our car significantly alongside, and he gives us space. And we are now ahead of the McLaren driver. Give him a little bit of space in the long right-hander, squeeze him to the inside a bit, but we eventually get the position on the McLaren, as we now have Fernando Alonso next in our sights in the Aston Martin. The Spaniard in his home race. Can we make any kind of moves on the straight? He just about has DRS from George Russell ahead. I think that's George Russell. It might be Lewis Hamilton. No, it is Lewis Hamilton. Sorry, that was my mistake. As we have closed right up into the Aston Martin. We definitely have the straight line speed. We have the cornering performance off that final turn. It's one of the main things we've been focusing on in R&D, is getting our weight down so we can get good entries and exits into the corners, good speed through them, and our downforce ain't too shabby either. So we're very easy to get the exits off the corners, which is allowing us to make these amazing moves in Spain. We're going for the move on Fernando Alonso round the outside in turn 1. Got to have real trust that the driver on the inside doesn't just completely dive bomb us there and cut off the track. But we are through on Alonso. We're up into P5, and you can see the pack ahead. That is the leading pack. George Russell leads this race, and Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, and then ourselves, as this train for P1 goes from P1 to about P8, where Verstappen is just hanging on to the back of the train here. So we're going to be trying to make our way right up this train into P1, as we're now closing in on Hamilton and slowly pulling away from Alonso. These medium tyres are definitely not the tyres to be on at the moment. These hard tyres are definitely the faster compound at the moment. You can just see it in the braking zones. We're closing in so much every single braking zone. And then traction, they do have a little bit more traction, but we have so much better braking performance through the corners. Hamilton has a little bit of a twitch on the rear end. That's going to allow us to close up a bit. Can we shape for the move on the main straight? We definitely are going to try. As we saw with Fernando Alonso last lap, we're right on the back of him. Can we pull out to make a move? We've got in the slipstream, we've got the DRS, we'll be deploying ERS. We're right on Hamilton now. We're going to shape for the inside. We go switch to the outside. Brake late. Side by side with Hamilton. We just about get ahead by the apex. And we are through up into 4th place. Charles Leclerc, our next target in the Ferrari, as Perez makes a move for the lead up ahead. Hamilton now dispatch. We once again make our move up the grid. As, to be honest, we might be looking at a win here. The pace that we're showing and the pace that these hards are going, we're going to be on the much faster tyres at the start of our next thing. We'll be able to go longer. So hopefully our tyres will be able to hold on a little bit longer, thanks to lower fuel and just being later in the race. The track will be more rubbered up, which means more grip, which means it might help with the hard zones a bit, but it will also help us. We're now up to P3 past Charles Leclerc. George Russell, who has the fastest lap of the race, and Sergio Perez just over a second ahead of us, as we go a little bit wide through turn 4. As we are now closed right in. George Russell's made the move back up into the lead. Sergio Perez ahead of him, but you can see Perez's straight line speed, just like the Red Bull in real life, is going right past our teammate Nico Hulkenberg in the pits, which tells us that these medium runners are going to be boxing anytime soon. As we now, at this point, I'm just staying behind these two, because there is no point me passing them and just burning my ERS, because I know they're going to pit before me, and I know they're going to get the undercut on us. It's not going to be, I hope it's not going to be that big of an undercut, but I want as much ERS as possible to just, when they box, to just push and push and push and push, to try and limit the benefits they're going to gain from the undercut and maximize our potential on the medium compound tires later on in this race. As these medium runners, I expect them both to box at the end of this lap. Maybe Russell might stay ahead because Hamilton is right there as well. I don't know which way around the Mercedes are going to pit, but now lap 17, a lap later than that offboard you've just seen, we're going for the move on Russell, deploying a little bit of our ERS. We're definitely harvesting a lot more now. A little bit of wheel banging with our fellow Brit, but we get past the Brit in the Mercedes. It's now the Mexican of Sergio Perez up ahead for P1. We're in P2. Can we try and shape for the moves? Checo pulls into the box. It is now all on our own. It's just me, myself, and I at the front of this race, pushing as hard as we can, trying to limit the benefit that the other drivers are going to be getting from the undercut. These hard tyres are slowly starting to go off in the last few laps, but we're still pushing as hard as we can on them. And the one thing I'm scared about is definitely that undercut, as we now come into the pits a lap earlier than we were planning to go onto the medium compound tires. We were planning to go on softs on the original strategy, but we have changed that thanks to seeing the degradation from the other drivers, that I don't think softs would be able to get us to the end of the race. So we are going to fit the medium compound tires on to give us a push to try and fight for the win. Our first ever win in Formula 1 in Spain. Let's get going. We're going to come out just behind Fernando Alonso. Or maybe just side by side with Fernando Alonso. I thought we'd get ahead of him there. I thought he'd get ahead of us there. But no, we're going to be behind Lando Norris. P7. We've got to get these medium compound tires heated up, warmed up to the perfect temperature, so that we can push as quickly as possible. But we're going to just have too much of a gap ahead of us, and we won't be able to push into the DRS of Norris. But now, lap 21, we've definitely got those tyres heated up. Norris ahead of us, we're right behind him. We dive to the inside, similar to the move we made earlier on the Haas, but he was on the mediums. It's an opposite move to before, as we now get up into P6, I think that is, and we are now on the charge to get to the leading pack. Russell is going to be our next target. He's fallen from P2 all the way to P5, thanks to the undercut of Leclerc and Hamilton behind. And I think Verstappen as well is going in P3. He started in P11, he's now in P3. We started in P13, we're now P6. And we are on the faster combat tires. We're definitely looking to push up in this race. Russell is just under a second over, so we will get DRS on the main straight now, as he doesn't have DRS from Hamilton ahead. He's too far ahead. Russell is definitely going to be a sitting duck here. We've seen the extras we can get off the corners. We close in so much with the extra grip on the medium tyres, slipstream and DRS. Can we go for the move on Russell? You can see the closing speed that we have on the Mercedes. We're going to go for the audacious move around the outside in turn 1, something that we're perfecting throughout this race, and we're now through up into P5. We have the fastest lap, Verstappen and Hamilton ahead, and I'm pretty sure that it's still the leading pack of 4 ahead of Hamilton, Verstappen, Leclerc and Perez. Perez is pulling away from a bit from this pack. He was the he will have the youngest tyres in this group here. Hamilton, our main target up ahead, as Verstappen and Leclerc are having a little bit of scrap. We dive up the inside of Lewis Hamilton as we are now up into P4. Verstappen and Leclerc still fighting. Can we get up to them? Can we fight for the podium places already on lap 26? 7 or 8 laps left. We're going to have to make some moves here, because Perez is very quickly pulling away thanks to the battling of the Dutchman and the Monegasque up ahead here. We're going to have to get past them. We're going to have to use these medium tyres to their full effect now, as we are coming to once again the main straight where we like to make our moves. The back straight here. Can we get past the Ferrari, maybe even the Red Bull We've seen the grip that we have on these mediums. Leclerc gets a better exit, but you see we're pulling in with DRS. We've got the better straight line speed, and we're up the inside of the Ferrari. The Haas past the Ferrari. The Ferrari B team, as it was called a few years ago, is now past the main Ferrari team. Verstappen right up ahead. He's going to be a sitting duck on the straight, similar to Russell, but we had a little bit of a brain fade there as we lift through the penultimate corner for some reason and lose a bit of time there, but we're still going to have the pace of Verstappen. We're deploying the battery. We're trying to get as much overspeed as we can to slingshot our way forward into the DRS range of Sergio Perez. He's only about 1.1 seconds ahead. We might be able to make that up through the corners, but Perez right now pulling away from us in the final bits. These hards will be lasting longer than our mediums. We gotta get this move done quickly, but we are still closing in. Our mediums still slightly better than the hards on that Red Bull. We set a green first sector, which to be honest is pretty decent. It's our best first sector, but we did have that massive slingshot from Verstappen as we're very close to Perez's DRS now. We're dead on the second, as we're now under a second to Perez. We won't get DRS on this straight, but hopefully we'll be able to get it for the main straight, as now on to lap 27. We don't have DRS now, but can we get it on the final straight? Perez is just ahead of us. He's just out of that 1 second. Can we make up the time through this final corner before the DRS detection zone? No, we can't. We are not going to have DRS for the main straight. This is going to be pure slipstream and ERS to try and close in to Perez. And you see we're flashing on the rear end. We've used most of our ERS. We're under 10%. As now on lap 28, we are most definitely in the DRS range of Sergio Perez. We've dropped Hamilton and Leclerc off the back of our pack, and it's me versus the two Red Bulls. Perez is going to be a sitting duck on the straight, but soon after we are going to be seeing that. There's a yellow flag behind us. Let's see what's happened here. We're looking at Hamilton, Sainz and Russell, I believe this is behind us. Actually, that might be Leclerc. I think that's Leclerc. As Hamilton now into turn 5. He spins it. He loses the rear end. And that is a painful, painful move for the Brit. The 7-time world champion has spun it 5 laps from the end when he was fighting for some big points in that Mercedes. As you can see, our teammate Nico Hulkenberg is going to go through, and that's going to get him a few more points to add to the tally for Haas. But Hamilton's race has been ruined. We're looking to make our race here as we got DRS on Sergio Perez for the first time. We're going to try, we're not going to deploy any ERS because we don't want to burn it all, but just straight line speed, slipstream and DRS are going to get us past the Mexican, and we are up into P1. We are leading a race on pure pace for the first ever time in Formula 1. 4 laps from the end, 4.5 laps left to do. Can we hold on from the Red Bulls? Definitely a faster car, but not much faster than us at this point in time. It's lap 29, further on in this race. Perez is right behind us. He's going to have the DRS on the back straight. Can he make a move similar to what we've been doing? Can we get the better exit still on these wearing medium tires? We've been on them for 10 laps. So MSD pops up, and I honestly don't know why it came up, but I've just had, well, oh my god, we're having a retire. Oh. Alright, do you guys remember in Bahrain where MFD pops up randomly? And then we retired thanks to a gearbox. Yeah, it happened again. And this time, when we were leading the race, we were so close to our first ever win in Formula 1. This is so painful at this point. Oh my. Four laps from the end. 4 laps from the end. We were in a solid P1. And our gearbox fails us again. We've used all our gearboxes now. All our allocation of gearboxes in the first 8 rounds. We've still got, what is it? 15 races left in this season. And we got to take many gearbox penalties. That is not going to be okay for us. Max Verstappen wins the race, and Sergio Perez actually retired from the race as well, which leaves George Russell, Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc on the podium, which anyone who got in first place just seems to have a retirement apart from Max Verstappen. So It's painful, but it's our first season. I'm sure we're going to get many other opportunities to win in Formula 1. But if you guys have enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and come with us next time as we go to Canada for the Canadian Grand Prix in our next session. As now, let's have a look. Nico Hülkenberg gets P6 in the end. That's his highest points finish of the race. You can see Sergio Perez and ourselves, DNF. We did manage to keep the fastest lap, so that's a point we've taken away from any other people in the championship. Hülkenberg P6, that's massive for our team. Hamilton didn't manage to make up those places, but he did gain 2. As Hülkenberg now shoots up the order, he's now in P13 in the drivers. We're P8, as we are just behind Aston Martin in the Drivers' Championship. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye.